You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin, and I am joined by Funky tonight. Funky, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, Devin. Woke up feeling like a national championship today. It's a beautiful Friday outside. Beautiful weather here, so it's can't complain too much. So yeah, it was a great day, and I'm coming down on it's almost summer break for me, Devin. So cannot complain about that. And we're 92 days away from Buckeye football. So you literally can't complain when we're in this perfect time. I love this time of the year. You know, we're going into baseball a little bit of football. We're gonna get a nice June, a nice July summer break, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be back in school. But when school starts again, that means football starts again. So won't be complaining because I'll take school and football any day over no school and no football. So
yeah, no doubt. I mean, this year's off season has seemed shorter, but it's just like you say that, and that's because it is shorter. You know what I mean? We were into those playoffs, had football playing pretty late into the season, definitely compared to the year before that. But chat, we appreciate you guys joining us. Do not forget to hit that like button. Extremely important. If you haven't shared this feed yet, jump on your X, Instagram, Facebook, share that for us. Get in the comment section if you haven't. Super chats are up if you got any questions for us. It's recruiting season, man. Let's see what the date is. Yeah, today. Recruits are showing up at Ohio State right now to start the first official visits for Ohio State. A lot of big-time targets in there, a lot of intel coming out about where we're leading at, where we lack at, different things like that. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the recruits that are on campus right now for the official visits and some intel that we have on them. A couple commits coming in as well, and a couple other top schools dropped on some Buckeye targets. So we'll talk about those. Mark Bowen committed to USC today, which was, I'm not going to call it a surprise on this end, but we might have a little information for you there about USC and their strategy and what they're going. But let's just dive right into it, man. Got some big-time targets coming on. Number one, we got Felix Ojo. I'm just going to give us the list, and we'll talk about a few of them. But the people that we have on campus right now, Felix Ojo, five-star tackle out of Texas. It's a Texas and Ohio State battle right now. Savon Haidider, that's a Georgia, Scum, Tennessee battle. Xavier Griffin, Alabama, Texas, and FSU battle right now. Lean toward Alabama. Jake Krull, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Luke Waffle, Penn State, where his brother goes, USC and Texas. And Max Sutter, Penn State, Alabama, Illinois, Ole Miss. Kari Wilder, the defensive end out of California, who we will be talking about tonight, UCLA, Notre Dame, and Washington. And then Breck Colajoy, offensive lineman out of IMG, Cameron Brickle, and Aaron Thomas, offensive tackle that you guys should be very familiar with. We've interviewed him several times on the Buckeye Boys. But let's dive into it, Funky. Let us know, man. Felix Ojo is now the number one offensive tackle in the nation. We've talked about him a lot here on the Buckeye Boys, over on Scoop as well. They just did a show on him. But I'm going to let you start off, man. What's your thoughts on Felix Ojo right now and the Buckeyes' chances?
yeah, I think people are heavily underestimating the Buckeyes' chances to land Felix Ojo, because it seems like right now it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to end up at Texas, and I definitely don't think that's the case. I think Texas definitely has a very strong argument towards him, and I think Texas is going to give him a very nice NIL package. But a lot of kids in Texas don't really want to go to Texas, or that's not like their number one thing they want to go to. Texas is a big state. Kids live up all over, cheering for a bunch of different teams, and I'm not sure that he's just set on going to Texas and there's no other teams competing. Because I know Ohio State feels good about their chances of getting him. And when you have the national championship head coach and the national championship coaching staff with Super Bowl winners on it, and the new offensive line coach who's extremely proactive with recruiting, and the 3 other assistants that we've hired that are made for offensive line development, I really like Ohio State's chances there. And especially he's on a visit this weekend, and he may just be joining the show again Monday. So it's going to be like he has strong interest towards Ohio State, and I don't think people are talking about us enough in this recruitment. It's clearly a 2-team battle between us and Texas. And Texas clearly has a strong argument, but I really like where the Buckeyes sit. And we produced 2 first-round offensive tackles in this draft. 2 offensive tackles that started for us. The one the national championship this season, both at left tackle, where he would be playing, won us a national title, and were first-round draft picks, and are going to be long starters in the NFL. So make up $200 million. So I think people are heavily underestimating Ohio State's chances, but in this day and age, that's kind of where you want to be in recruitment. You don't want to like being the team with a target on your back, the team that people are gonna have to choose to recruit against for 6 months is brutal. So I'm glad he's on campus, and he clearly loves Ohio State, and I really like the Buckeyes' chances there because there's literally no other team in the nation who's developed O-line better than Ohio State. When we're talking about like especially first-round talent in the last couple of years, and even not just first-round talent, but starting offensive tackles. And we have starting offensive tackles all over the league, on the Browns, on the Cardinals, on the Titans, on the Lions. They're all over the league, and now they're on the Chiefs and the Vikings. So we can develop the offensive tackle, and Ryan Day has proven that, and these staff members have proven it all over the country, from Oklahoma State, from Virginia Tech. So yeah, there's a lot of promising signs of him going to Ohio State that people aren't talking about, that we know because we're lucky, or Devin, you especially are lucky enough to have a really great relationship with Felix. So what are you thinking about his recruitment, Devin?
Yeah, a couple things. Funky dropped a little bomb there, man. Monday. I would encourage you to tune in to the Scoop Show at 6 p.m. We may or may not have a big time commit coming on for an interview. Fresh off an Ohio State official visit. Couldn't ask for a better time to interview one of these commits. But a couple things. Number one, state of Texas. Devin Sanchez, Riley Pettijohn, right? So we see that pulling elite players out of Texas and quite frankly, Alabama anymore and all over the country is something that the Buckeyes can and will keep doing in the future. Number two, let's just call it like it is. A lot of people are choosing Texas because of the money, right? Well, again, every single year, elite players choose the Buckeyes, which they don't get as much money up front for some of these other teams. That's just the truth. That's just what it is. But what you do get is brotherhood, natty winning football team. I mean, the character and the brotherhood that's in the winning mentality that comes out of Ohio State is contagious, right? Recruits see that and they want to be a part of that. And then you also have the Buckeyes' need for a good left tackle, right? You've seen the last 2 left tackles that we've had, Donnie coming in for the help, but he was a guard, have come from the portal. And yeah, that's kind of your backup plan, and you can do that. But I know that Ryan Day does not want to keep doing that. He'll fill needs where necessary, but Ryan Day has said over and over again, the foundation of this team has to come from high school recruiting. And you saw last year, they went after David Sanders hard, missed, right? So they're doing it again. Ryan Day does not want to have to go in the portal over and over again for a left tackle because sometimes they're just not there. And you see some of the money that these guys are demanding anymore. But the foundation of this class needs to come from there. And again, we've talked to Felix Ojo several times. And what gives me the confidence is the amount of effort Ohio State is putting into his recruitment. Because it's not just the O-line coach reaching out to him. It's every single staff, on this team is reaching out to Felix Ojo. He is hearing from them frequently. not just a one-time thing. So I think Felix Ojo is, I might press and say he's the most important one for Ryan Day. I like on Ryan Day's list. I'm hearing people saying Savon Haidider is the Buckeyes' number one recruit this cycle. But there's just something, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's the other one we'll talk about next. Savon Haidider, right? Running back out of Virginia, number one running back in the class. It's Georgia, Scum, and Tennessee. I'll just go out and say the and this is without really knowing much in regards to it, but the only thing I know for sure about him is I know what team he's not going to pick. But Funky, what's the intel you have on Savon Haidider? And I am curious as to what you think. Where would Felix Ojo rate on like Ryan Day's list of, hey, I want this dude in our class?
I mean, I'm of the belief that our number one target, or if I had to rank our, our three main, I'll send a list of four. Our four main targets heading into this cycle. I would say one, Felix Ojo, and I don't think it's that close. I think it's pretty far away. Two, Tyler Atkinson. Three, Xavier Griffin, and then four, Sinclair Johnson. And I think I'd put Savon Haidider at 5. Just because we got a big running back class last year with 3 running backs with Bo Jackson, Turbo, and the kid from Pennsylvania. I'm totally forgetting his name. My apologies. The kid from Pennsylvania, great power back.
Dang, I did too.
And then
Isaiah or something.
Shoot, I'm forgetting. But besides the point, from my intel on Savon Haidider is I really do think it's a battle between Tennessee and Ohio State. He really likes Tennessee. He's been visiting there a lot. He went on their, I'm forgetting the weekend they call it, but they call it, there's a certain weekend where it's like, they had some insane stat on this. About 80% of the class, on average, attends this weekend for Tennessee. And Savon Haidider was it attended this weekend for Tennessee. But for him, the official visits are going to tell a lot because he's the number one player on the country, according to a lot of staffs, according to a lot of Michigan insiders. He's the number one guy on their board. So will he be offered a 7-figure plus deal by Michigan? Possibly. Could be. Per year. Obviously, he'll be getting paid 7+ figures for 4 years or 3 years for sure by any school in the nation. So will he get offered a big deal by Tennessee? Will Ohio State offer him 7 figures? Probably not. But what I do know is him and Carlos Loughlin have a legit good relationship. And Ohio State was able to do something that very, very few schools ever have been able to do. And that's produce 2 running backs who were picked in the top 40 in the NFL draft. That just does not happen. I mean, last time that happened was Nick Chubb and the Patriots running back, and for Georgia. And I don't remember the last time that's ever happened before that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can correct me, but I genuinely cannot remember a second time where that's happened, at least in my lifetime, and especially not in this new NIL era where teams really don't want to have 2-star running backs. But Ohio State, we proved that we can just not just have 2-star running backs, but produce 2-star running backs, win a national championship, and get them drafted in the top, it was like 37, 38 picks in the NFL draft. So they both have their star moments. I mean, you could argue Trayvon was the star of the Texas game, and you can argue Quinshawn was the star of the Notre Dame game. Or he probably was a star of the Notre Dame game, and then J.J. Smith in the Oregon game, and probably J.J. Smith again in the Tennessee game offensively. So not many teams in the world can say that. And I know him and Carlos Loughlin are extremely tight, and I know his interest in Ohio State is real. But as a running back, obviously they look to get their NIL bag up because that's smart to do. Your lifespan isn't that big as a running back in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So getting the money where you can get it is respectable in my opinion. I don't hate that, to be honest with you. So not saying that he's not getting a Buckeye. I definitely think Buckeyes, I would say we're running second right now to Tennessee. But Tennessee right now would be my pick. But Buckeyes running close, and I have the right to change my mind if I hear stuff coming out of this visit. Because if this visit goes really good, and we get the number one offensive tackle in the nation and the number one linebacker in the nation, then all of a sudden, Savion's sitting there knowing we're going to get the number one safety in the nation in August, then man, he might want to jump part of that train, get a big NIL check from Ohio State, and be part of something, bigger than himself.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. The money that colleges are offering. But what's funny, Funky, is if you look at these colleges and you name the colleges that are offering like money like that, the money that really doesn't make sense, honestly, I mean, on their part to do like for freshmen, unproven freshmen. And they are the teams that are just desperate as all get out. They're just absolutely thirsting to try to make or get their program back to some type of relevance. And it's kind of like they think it's the quick fix, let's get all these big time players. But, in terms of players that Ohio State is after the most, you would say that the position group that is needed the most is defensive line, right? But that's because we already have Sam Grill and Maxwell Riley in the class, and Tucker Smith as well. Like the momentum that is being carried for the offensive line is very strong, and not so much for the defensive line right now. But when we're talking about importance of players like Felix Ojo, like they're as close to, hey, we're going to succeed with this we're going money well spent here in terms of, hey, like this is the importance of these guys. It's like Jeremiah Smith. Not that we needed that much help in our wide receiver room. It was so good, but the Buckeyes knew the type of generational player that he was like for sure going to be. That's why he was up there, not position group. And that's along the same lines as Felix Ojo, Savon Haidider, and Xavier Griffin, like that. But probably, we'll do that next. But Xavier Griffin, right, the former USC commit out of Georgia, coming in here, has Buckeyes on his official visit list. I think we can thank Matt Patricia for this one. Xavier Griffin stated that obviously before, when Jim Knowles was around, he didn't feel like he fit into the scheme at all. And then Matt Patricia has a conversation with him, gets Xavier Griffin pretty excited about the potential for his position group here at Ohio State. And he's now coming in for an official visit. I'm being told Buckeyes don't stand a chance there. It's between Alabama and Texas. That's the information that I have that Mello kind of mentioned on the show yesterday. But he's making an official visit. So I don't know, Funky, am I far off there? Or do you think the Buckeyes really stand a chance here?
I don't think you're too far off. I would disagree with the fact that Texas is in this recruitment. Like, if you want to mention Texas, then we definitely have to mention Ohio State. I would definitely agree that Bama leads for sure. But, I mean, Wilt Vaughn put in his prediction to Bama right as he announced his release or his date. But being that, I will never count James Laurinaitis out. James Laurinaitis is one of the most dynamic recruiters in the nation. He's proven this over and over again, that he can compete for these kids and can grab kids from all over the country. Remember last year when Fong Bong predicted Alford to flip TJ Alford to flip the Florida State or Florida or wherever, or Miami or Florida State or Miami or whatever the heck. So I absolutely think that Fong could definitely be wrong. I mean, he's been wrong so many times about this Mark Bowman thing. If you're on BuckeyeScoop.com, you could time check all of this. I had Mark Bowman going to USC before Fong did, and that was on Fong's third guess. He crystal balled him to Georgia, crystal balled him to Texas, and crystal balled him to USC within a span of a month and a half. So I don't look at that as a death sentence at all. Do I think Ohio State leads right now? Probably not. But I think a lot could happen this weekend. I think getting to talk to Matt Patricia, getting to talk to James Laurinaitis, getting to talk to Ryan Day, getting to be around guys like Riley Pettijohn and TJ Alford, who are both kids outside of Ohio who chose to play at Ohio State, who are, 5-star level players who are getting recruited, at a 5-star level. To me, that tells you a lot. When you look at Arvell Reese, his development at linebacker has been amazing. I mean, he's going to be a fantastic linebacker. I mean, Styles went from being he's never played linebacker before, and he steps in there and was very good by the end of the year and showed a lot of improvement just within 12 months of playing the position. And he's projected first, second round, third round draft pick, top 100 pick for sure in the NFL draft. And maybe he's a preseason, probably first, second team All-American. So we have a lot of good things going for us in that recruitment. Do I think we're playing catch up? Absolutely. I think we had a late start on it. And I think this is a kid who really wasn't showing much interest, like you said, until recent Ohio State. So I think we got a lot of catching up to do. But in this common day of NIL, and when Bama's going to be playing the schedule they're playing, there is a very good chance that they walk out of the season, with 3-4 losses.
Yeah.
And their staff, you really want to play for their staff? The Washington staff, who has a comparable, good defense in years, like, they don't really know what they're doing defensively. They really don't. This isn't Nick Saban. This isn't Bama in the past. This is new Washington Bama-esque players, and I think they're very beatable. It's not Nick Saban. And let's just say this: if he got bong to Bama and Nick Saban was the head coach, I would be sitting here like, yeah, he's going to Bama. Like, Nick Saban gets who he wants, and we just kind of have to sit back here. But it's not like that anymore. I'm feeling more optimistic about it, but I think our chances with Tyler Atkinson are higher, and obviously Sinclair Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask to you. And you mean Sincere Johnson?
Sincere
right?
Johnson. Oh my God.
That's what I thought. But you kept saying Sinclair Johnson. I must ask you. I don't know who that is earlier, but
yeah, my bad.
Now it just clicked with me. But I was going to ask you that, and then I also feel the same, that we have a better shot at Tyler Atkinson, believe it or not. But again, I everything you said, totally true. When you look at this Kalen DeBoer Alabama team, you kind of question, like, you see, what's his name from Ohio, the defensive end committed there last year. We know there were some family members that loved Alabama there, specifically his mom, I do believe. But you look at what he's done on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, last year, his first year, it's like, man, they're still riding off Saban's coattails in this recruiting, able to pull some of these guys and beat Ohio State out for defensive recruits. And I don't know the money situation there, if they're at that point now where they're done riding off of the Alabama name, if they still can, and they're having to offer players like Xavier Griffin money that USC is offering Xavier Griffin to get him to leave or whatever. But I don't really know. But yeah, you just can't count Ohio State and James Laurinaitis out at all, especially, like you mentioned, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles. And we'll see this year. Sonny Styles is being talked about as a top 10 returning player in college football. He's on a couple lists for that as well. But probably the one position group that you fans want to hear about the most, that I'm honestly the most excited to start seeing some momentum from, the defensive line, right? We got some big-time players coming in that I believe Ohio State really needs to do something on. I've been mentioning this whole time that I just refuse to believe that Ryan Day will allow defensive line recruiting to slack as much as people are talking about it slacking. People are making it sound like it's really, really bad, when really we've got some official visits from some big-time defensive linemen. So I think they have something up their sleeve. I think that Larry Johnson, this is his style of recruiting, and Ryan Day knows the importance of these guys. He knows where we sit with our depth in the defensive line. He knows that we got to get some of these big-time players to come in and do it, and that's just why I have faith that they're going to knock it out of the park. We got Jake Krull coming in. Now, it's top 60 player nationally. Luke Waffle, top 100 player nationally. He's a top 50 player on one of the sites, I do believe. And then you got Kari Wilder, 6'5", 250 defensive end out of California. The Buckeyes are newer in on him. But I feel really strongly about the Buckeyes. I really do. If I were to pick a surprise commit out of all these, and this is just a complete guess, feeling, no information here, I would pick Kari Wilder to come out committed to the Buckeyes, because his other teams are UCLA, Notre Dame, and Washington. Notre Dame already has some big-time defensive ends committed in the class already. But Penn State and USC and Texas was with Luke Waffle and Jake Krull as Florida, Texas, Oklahoma. Funky, give us your breakdown on some of these defensive linemen that are coming in to visit Ohio State.
Yeah, I want to start on Jake Krull. Jake Krull out of Florida? Yeah, Orlando, Florida. I believe he's an IMG kid. Also very popular on TikTok, I believe.
Yeah.
From I again, Ohio State, in my opinion, I think is running, or I'm pretty confident is running second behind Oklahoma right now. For me, if I had to put in my prediction, it would be probably in Oklahoma. But again, the main thing I keep hearing about these defensive end recruits is they are taking their visits for a reason. These kids are taking visits for a reason because that's because they're still deciding stuff. Stuff still needs to be talked about, and there's no real leader. But just from I've talked to the kid once, and I've talked to the kids around him, and IMG, IMG and Ohio State, not the best relationship in the world, but from hearing out of there and the confidence I hear from a lot of my Florida guys is that Ohio State's in the conversation for sure and probably running second behind Oklahoma. But out of the three, the kids I'm going to talk about, he's probably the one I'm least confident about. The second one I want to talk about is Luke Waffles. Luke Waffles, number one player in New Jersey. He really likes Ohio State. Really, really likes Ohio State. Larry Johnson really, really, really likes him. Ryan Day really, really, really likes him. Likes his motor. Jordan Thomas and him play each other a lot, know each other, have a lot of respect for each other, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Jordan Thomas, in my opinion, he's been criminally underrated. He's a big, tall, lengthy, athletic cornerback. He's the type of cornerback that gets drafted really, really high every single year. And especially from those New Jersey kids, we have a lot of success from them. And I believe Luke Waffles is a high up on our list. I believe that he's probably the number one person on our list. Him and Carter Meadows are probably 1A, 1B in that defensive line, defensive end recruiting talk. And I feel good about him. I do believe the Buckeyes lead in Luke Waffles' recruitment. But I think this all could change on its head in one. For all these kids, wouldn't surprise me if they go on the visit gets knocked out of, we knock it out of the park and they commit to the Buckeyes. None of that would surprise me. That would be actually I'd be very unsurprised if we got a commitment this week from one of these kids who absolutely loves the program. But the kid I feel most confident about committing here is, like you said, Wilder. Out of California, Gardena, California. That is literally right next to me. I've seen this kid play. I think I watched him at a camp once about a year ago, and I watched him play twice last year during his junior season. And impressive kid, big kid, huge, very big kid. I thought I had him around, just off my eyes and standing around him, about 6'3", 6'4", probably 6'5" with cleats on if I had to guess. About 240, 245 just by eye test by looking at these kids. And he's definitely Ohio State caliber and definitely a little bit under recruited right now, but I can definitely see him, being a late riser in the recruiting rankings as he keeps going to these camps. I think a lot of these kids in Southern section get a little bit underrated, in my opinion. It's a little bit harder to go to camps in the East or get noticed by, across the Mississippi. But I like where the Buckeyes stand with him. And he's a kid who he's really good at getting the quarterback. He's a knack for it. And that's what I like looking for, especially at the high school level. And he plays at a really, really high level of high school football too. I mean, Southern section, I believe Gardena's is Division II, Sierra High School in Gardena, California. That's Division II, I believe, California, which is, again, really, really, really high level competition. That's the third level. For those who don't know, that's the third level of competition in California. It's open division, Division I, and then Division II. So Division II is still very, very high. Let's say that's higher. That's 2 divisions higher than the Michigan commit quarterback is playing right now in Southern section, because Newbury Park is Division IV, Devin. So this kid's playing 2 divisions higher than that, and he's very dominant, very disruptive. And I really like where the Buckeyes stand. And we have a really great relationship with a lot of these Southern California schools. Really, really good. So, and USC doesn't seem to be in them on that much. Washington, I'm not really threatened by. UCLA, definitely not threatened by. And Notre Dame, I just don't see it. So I would put in my prediction for him to go to Ohio State.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there about Wilder. I mean, when you watch his tape, he looks like a player that's going to be shooting up. And I didn't know that about the competition, so I'm glad you explained that to me. And that makes his film even more impressive now. I mean, like you said, he's 6'4", 6'5", 250 pounds. Does he stay at defensive end? I don't know, but either way, he'd make a good defensive lineman. A very long, lengthy kid as well. I mean, his film is just kind of off the charts. And Ohio State has just come in with a ton of fire on this commitment. They offered late, but when they did, they showed up to his practice, to his home, got a relationship with his family, brought Matt Patricia along. They brought everybody, and they came in hard for this player. I like what you said about Luke Waffle, because I share that. I think in the defensive line board, I think Luke Waffle is up there, and my confidence has grown. I used to just think it's Penn State because his brother goes there. But when you watch a couple recent interviews, he says, man, you know, people got different paths sometimes. And we see the Buckeyes pull Blaine Bradford out of LSU, and he's got a brother that plays for LSU. So this whole brother thing that you see, sometimes it matters, but the fact that it doesn't sometimes can give you confidence in this manner. And Jake Krull, a lot of people worried about his size and think that he might flame out in high school. I don't agree with that, but he's coming in for an official visit. So we'll see what the Buckeyes have up their sleeve. The last one I want to mention, actually, first, man, I got to say this, dude. When is it time to move on from Con 3? I mean, I don't know if you guys heard what Wilfong just did with Mark Bowman. I want to reiterate what he did. He changed his crystal ball 3 times. Right, from, I don't know, Texas, Georgia, and then now when he announces, you know, that he's going to commit somewhere, he puts in a crystal ball to USC. Lo and behold, he goes to USC, right? So this whole thing that they're trying to do there at Con 3, I mean, you know how the Buckeye boys feel about them. It's wild, the stuff they do there to these kids and the way they handle their crystal balls and all that. It's just kind of wild. But I do want to talk about Aaron Thomas, the offensive tackle. A lot of people are thinking that it's either Texas A&M or Florida State because his parents went to Florida State. We interviewed him a couple times. He loves the Buckeyes. He's coming in for an official visit. Used to play defensive line. His film looks very promising. Needs some development there, but as far as the physical attributes, he's 6'7", 275 pounds right now. So got the body for it. And the main thing about this is you might look and see, well, Felix Ojo and Aaron Thomas, 2 offensive tackles coming together. Well, I think the Buckeyes are looking to take 3 this class. Now, me and Funky were talking before we came on here. It's looking like they're going to try to take like a minimum of 5 or 6 and in as much as 7 or 8 offensive linemen in this class. And that's why you see all these offers going out. I mean, we're in on a lot. Even Brett Colajoy coming in from IMG. I mean, he's visiting 100 million other schools. But you see that the Buckeyes really want to build this offensive line class up. So I love it. Funky, you got anything else to add to these visits coming in? I got a few more recruiting things to talk about and some other Ohio State things to talk about.
I mean, nothing I could really think of off the top of my head. Let me look at the who's visiting first, though. I got to give myself a little bit of a reminder here.
Yeah, so it's Aaron Thomas, Cameron Brickle, Brett Colajoy, Kari Wilder, Mac Sutter, the tight end out of Pennsylvania, top 100 player. I don't know if you know anything about him.
About the tight end room. I heard a little bit about the tight end room.
Yeah.
I really don't think we're looking to add a second. I mean, again, we would have taken a commitment from Mark Bowman, obviously, and I believe we would take a commitment from Sutter, but our room is already overflown. We already have, I think, 2 more scholarship guys than we usually carry, and we really want to his name's Corbin Fordham, I believe. Yeah. The commit that we already have from Florida that we really like, who's really athletic, who dominates on the 7-on-7 scene, has been really loyal to Ohio State, extremely loyal to Ohio State, and they're always going to be loyal to him back. So. They're not trying to run him. They're not trying to run him out of town. They're not going to try to, drop him and get someone else who they might like a little more. They want to honor loyalty. So I don't think we're going to add a second tight end in this class. That's my belief. So yeah. I really wouldn't pay attention to tight end recruiting that much. Could I be totally wrong? Sure, but I just don't believe so.
Yeah, I mean. Last year's class, we got Nate Roberts and Brody Lennon, 2 big-time tight ends. Honestly, Nate Roberts is going to be an absolute tank. You saw
He's
him in the
really
spring
good.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a stud.
We got Max LeBlanc. We got Corbin Fordham committed already. And Max Clare was the kind of surprise one here. The Buckeyes didn't go after a tight end in the portal, but when the best tight end is interested in Ohio State and he wants to come here, you let him come here. And I think that's almost along the lines here, as if Max Sutter wants to come here with what they have to offer, they'll let him come in. But if he doesn't, they're not going to go out and try to fill his spot. I mean, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. He's coming for an official, so I'm sure the Buckeyes are interested there. But in a little bit of other news, Micah Champ Smith, Fong put in a bomb for him to go to UCLA. And a little bit after that, Micah Champ Smith announces that I believe he's committing on June 7th, which is not far away at all. And he dropped the top 6 today. It's either June or July 7th. Somebody correct me in the chat. I need to know that date, because if it's June 7th and he's dropping the top 6, I don't know why you would do that. Just drop a top 3 or something. But anyways, top 6 are Illinois, Alabama, Tennessee, UCLA, South Carolina, and Ohio State. So there's a lot of talk that, Coach Fry really was pushing hard for him. And then this new offensive line staff came in, and they just had momentum with other players. And so they followed that momentum, kind of lost off on Micah Champ Smith. But that's a rumor. Then I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I believe that rumor or not. So, Funky, I don't know if you got anything on that. But before you get started on that, I'll just mention the other one in case you want to add to that. He's the number 4 corner in the nation. Fitzpatrick dropped to top 5 for Georgia, Florida, Ohio State, Texas, and Miami. They're expecting him to take an official visit to Ohio State. So those are the 2 updated recruits. Funky, anything to add for any of those guys?
Yeah, I'll start with Micah Champ Smith. Talk to some UCLA guys, and they believe that they're getting him. That's just the general belief. They think he has a really good relationship with Coach Foster, the head coach there. And one of my guys who believes they're getting him is actually an offensive lineman at UCLA. So he's have 2 good buddies that are offensive linemen at UCLA, and both very unhappy about the quarterback situation. But besides the point, they both think that they're getting Micah Champ Smith on their team. And I just got a text back for them. I texted them right before the show, and they said, quotes, "Yeah, he's coming." And I was like, okay,
no,
cool.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? I mean, who really I'm sure they're getting only the good information, or the cherry picked information. But yeah, I believe he picks UCLA because Ohio State kind of cooled off on him a little bit, because I feel really good about other guys in this class. And yeah, because we've offered a ton of kids have offered from Ohio State, and he just wasn't that high on the priority list compared to what he was with when Fry was. If we had Fry still, I think we get him, because Fry had a great connection with the kid, surprisingly. And I mean, I would almost say he was a guaranteed if we have Fry. But I think Champ ends up at UCLA. That would be my pick. And then Justice Fitzpatrick, for those who don't know, he is the cousin of.
I think it's the brother. I think
is
it's
it brother?
The younger brother.
The younger brother of Minka Fitzpatrick. Oh, right. Yeah, he's the brother of Minka Fitzpatrick. And he's going to visit Ohio State, and he's going to commit in July. I like our chances on this one, just because cornerbacks like him just seem like they end up at Ohio State. They just seem like they end up on Ohio State, and the other schools that he's getting recruited to don't seem to have all that much momentum, compared to Ohio State. And because the other school I was hearing in this recruitment was Florida. And I don't know, that I like where Ohio State stands with him, and I know because he's number 1 on our board. And when you're an Ohio State recruit and you're number 1 on Ohio State's board, it's usually you pick Ohio State, Devin. That's just naturally what happens. If you're number 1 on the board, you go there. And I know these other schools, they're in it for other 5-star cornerbacks, other guys that they might have a little higher, but this guy is the exact prototype of what we want at Ohio State. And I believe that we'll say, I'm not going to put my prediction that he goes to Ohio State, but I believe that we're the leaders right now. but that's no prediction. I want obviously I want to see how the visits go, and I feel like after the kids, the visit has to go good. That has to go good, and money has to be talked, and it has to be talked in the right way. Because if we really like them as much as we say, then that check better correlate to that, which it will. I mean, I fully believe that, but I just want to see how these visits come out before I put in a prediction of where I think he goes. But I do like where we stand, and I really want him. I think he's a freak. And when you have a brother like that, as smart as Minko, he's a smart player, an athletic player, and same with Justice. I mean, you watch his tape; he is a playmaker, and playmakers are those are players I like, because that's my favorite thing about Caleb Downs is you could watch an Ohio State game and these big time games, and you see him everywhere. Every big play, Caleb Downs is like in the screen. The only games where Caleb Downs isn't in the screen, Devin, is the Western Michigan games, or the games where Caleb is playing 20 yards down the field, because we don't really need him in the box. So
yeah, it's pretty wild, because I think we got in a little bit late on Justice Fitzpatrick as well, and I believe his brother went to Alabama. And I think, if I remember this correctly, there was some interview, I believe, where his brother talked about, Saban, right, being in Alabama. That's why he went to Alabama, and a lot of people were saying that Alabama connection there, but for some reason, I remember reading something about his brother saying it's not the same anymore, which obviously it's not. It's completely different. But if I remember correctly, I think his brother's like big into helping him with his recruitment, like goes on the visits with him when he can and helps with all that stuff. But I mean, you said it, the cornerback position at Ohio State with what we see, and it's kind of wild, the impact that Caleb Downs coming to Ohio State has had on this program, on the field, off the field, and recruiting. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It opened a lot of these recruits' eyes. It really did. I mean, Braylon Womack, Blaine Bradford, you name it, secondary kid. They see what Ohio State does with the secondary, and they see players like Devin Sanchez, Caleb Downs, Jermaine Matthews, coming in here to this room, Aaron Scott, Bryce West, and they just see that brotherhood, that culture that's been created at Ohio State. It's definitely something that recruits kind of fall towards.
Yeah, you're totally right there. And if you look at the other teams on his list, I mean, Georgia, massive culture issues there. Obviously, there's huge red flags there. I could definitely see a smart football family. I mean, we know that there's been tons of smart football families, and I underline families because I feel like a lot of individuals pick Georgia, but not a lot of families, I feel like, pick Georgia. And then you go to Florida. I mean, Florida's up in the air right now. Like, you don't really know what you're going to get at Florida. Billy Napier is halfway out the door, halfway in the door. I think Florida's a mess right now. Texas, I mean, that's a good program. Texas is a good program. They're on the right track. But you know who's on the hot seat, who people aren't really talking about? Steve Sarkisian. He hasn't really done much at Texas. He's gotten all this financial backing in the world. Hasn't pushed over the ledge. Hasn't really won a big game. I mean, if we want to say Ryan Day hasn't won the big game, if we're holding him to that standard, then man, Texas hasn't won a big game in a while. They won. I want to believe it's I think they had one top 25 win last year. It was either 1 or 0. It's depending wherever Texas A&M was ranked. I think Texas A&M was.
Not only that, talk about his quarterback draft. What he did with his quarterback. I mean, golly.
Exactly, and it's I mean, who knows? Yeah, we don't. Steve Sarkisian for me is he's up. Like, I don't know. He's a little bit on the hot seat, and then Miami for me is just, if he goes to Miami, then I don't think he's too serious about this football thing. If you want to play defensive back and you choose Miami over Texas, Ohio State, or Georgia, then I don't know if he's that serious about this football thing. So, but for all those reasons, that's why I feel pretty confident about Ohio State. And usually, when we see a cornerback that we really want, who doesn't have a lot of character flaws or has a good family, then usually we get our way with it. And so that's why I think Ohio State leads right now in his recruitment for sure.
Yeah. Christopher wants to know, do we land Womack or Kobe's nephew, Jet Washington? Buckeye boys and Scoop both share the same sentiment with Braylon Womack. He's going to be a Buckeye. We're trying to work on something there. We might have a surprise for y'all when it comes to him. But I love where the Buckeyes stand. They cannot stand in a better position with Braylon Womack. If he does not commit to the Buckeyes, something has went wrong in my eyes. It is very surprising that Jet Washington scheduled an official visit to Ohio State. Room's getting crowded. That's that Caleb Downs effect and the Matt G effect as well, honestly. I mean, Ryan, you heard Ryan Day talk about Matt Guerriere. We thought he was going to be the defensive coordinator this year. So again, recruits hear that. They see that. They know that, Ryan Day's know what he's doing when he's in front of a microphone, letting the whole nation know about his coaching staff. So recruits hear that, and you're seeing that impact as well, because what you have is Ryan Day saying something, and then it gets backed up with proof. The number 1 safety in the nation, top 10 draft pick, Caleb Downs, decides to go play for Matt Guerriere, and then Ryan Day is saying this stuff. It's like, man, if you're a smart football player, you pay attention to that stuff as well, and you kind of know what it is. And you see Lathan Ransom go in the draft. You see Jordan Hancock go in the draft. You see Denzel Burke get drafted as well. I mean, you can talk all day about where they got drafted, but that's 3 secondary players just got drafted from the Buckeyes. So a lot of good things going there. Funky, to kind of wrap this thing up a little bit. I heard a little bird say today that something got updated as far as our good old buddies up north and the burning down of their program, which real fast. I got to give a shout out to Justin Spiro. I know Buckeye Scoop has been helping promote that recent video that he put out. Man, I should pull it up and play it for everybody, because it deserves a Golden Globe Award. It's absolutely hilarious. So shout out Spiro. You better go to his Twitter and watch that video that he made, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to put a smile on your face. But Funky, what's the updates, man? Did the dashboard get updated today? Give us some more information about what's going on with the bonfire or up north.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure if it got updated today, but I'll let you know today is when I figured out it got updated. Because all my eyes have been pointing towards June 6th or June 6th and 7th. I believe this happened today though, because usually there's people. We got this sent to us. It was a screenshot, and that's when I was notified. And we have a ton of people, that are stalking that dashboard, including myself usually. And they send it to us, and the update is also posted on buckeyescoop.com, and I believe the Twitter posted it as well. So if you want to follow along with it, it says on May 6, 2025, a party submitted a supplemental response to the NOA. Then on May 12th, 2025, a party submitted a supplemental response to the NOA. So two supplemental responses were submitted, submitted a supplemental response to the NOA in a 6-day period. Was it the same party? Was it different parties? Who knows? But this is how I read it. And then on May 16th, the enforcement submitted a reply to the party supplemental responses to the NOA. So they replied to both of them on the same time. So all that was already responded to. This is what I believe it is. I believe it's a lawyer, it's someone involved with Michigan, who's trying to fight this for Michigan, and they submitted something to dismiss two parts of the NOA or something around that. And I think the NCAA responded back, whatever you want to say, 10 days later or 4 days later, depending on what day you look at, and, double birded them and said, heck no. Because, I'm not even just saying that as like a biased fan, because if they would have amended the NOA or changed it, they would have had to put that. You would see amended NOA. You would see something like that. And I don't see that. I don't see amended NOA, and haven't really gotten the chance to talk to, Kirk or Nevada about it or do any like legit research into it. So this is a good amount of speculation, but this is just pretty basic. That's very realistic, and that's very much what could happen. But what we do know 100% is a party submitted a supplemental response to NOA. So some sort of party involved in the case. That could be Harbaugh, that could be Stallions, that could be Moore, that could be Michigan, the university. So a party submitted a response, and then maybe the same or maybe a different party submitted another response to the NOA, a supplemental response to the NOA, and then we know the NCAA responded to it. So we can only guess a little bit but we know that they didn't change it because that would be underlined, because I think that was underlined earlier in the process.
Yeah.
Was
It makes sense that the response was the double bird, because if you think about it, if 2 amendments were put in, and it would have been, and the answer would have been anything other than no, it probably would have been 2 entered responses, right? Because if it's 2 different amendments, there's going to be 2 different details. You can't just all of a sudden say yes, because it's going to change things. So you're probably going to type up 2 different responses for that. But if both of them are just a big old bird, then it's easy to just send both responses back in one day. You just type NO and send it on over. So yeah, but again, man, I'm seeing more people start to come to reality about this entire thing, but there is still an alarming number of people, to me anyway, that act like this is nothing. And I know I'm going to be disgusted at the response, because they're getting hammered, right? There's going to be bowl bans, vacated wins, all that stuff. It is happening. And I'm going to be disgusted with the response of this fan base. But Funky, take over. I got to go.
But yeah, if we look at the On3 Michigan board directly, sorry, I don't know really what's happening, guys, but if we look at the On3 Michigan board directly, and we look at Uncle T's hilarious response to your award. It wasn't even a response. It was the out of nowhere, out of the blue, he starts blaming Ryan Day's brother for this whole entire case. He blamed Ryan Day's brother, the transfer to Ohio State, who's not even on scholarship, who wasn't on scholarship at Michigan, is not on scholarship at Ohio State. And then he blamed the pedophile that was on staff. So, not sure what the heck they possibly could have been thinking of, like when he was making that, but he's clearly has something wrong with his head and some clear copium going through. We're talking about Uncle T, Devin.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude,
he has some. He's crazy. Like he's blaming. He literally believes that it's Ohio State that hired this PI firm. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's, there could be a lot of stuff you could say about this, and that, like, whatever that would be, I would still laugh at, but maybe listen to. But that absolutely not, and that's ridiculous, and that's just, it's just straight up wrong, and it's pretty dangerous, to be honest with you, Devin. It's not like that's not stuff you should be saying about someone's family or anything. That's extremely, especially that how crazy the Michigan fan base is. And the Ohio State fan base. It's like very crazy, and how you see this stuff happen all the time, where people, he has to hire like big security, and that doesn't help it. So now Ryan Day's brother needs security. So,
well, it just goes to show you, man, that you wonder why the fan base is the way they are. Well, you look at Uncle T. He was on the board of the Champion Circle, their number one donor. The Champion Circle funded their natty run, brought Blake Corum back and all their players. He was the leader. He was like the main guy in that group. And then all of a sudden he shows up, and lo and behold, the board got rid of him. So he goes from being like shot caller, like when you're in control of that much money, you're up there at the head coach, right? I'm making calls for your team. When you're paying players millions of dollars, and you're on the board of that powerful of a place, and then you see the type of character this individual has on his own, it's just like, dude, no wonder, man, the fan base. And that can go down the list from the tweeting bet, right? And then Ward with how he operates. And then you see how old Harbaugh operated. It's no wonder, right? Their fan base is the way they are, and talk about scum the way they do. It's just wild. They go from blaming people from cheating all those years, Ohio's, to anybody else, Tattoo Gate, the way they responded to that. And then this happens. And there are literal so many facts out there, video evidence of Connor Stallions on the sideline. The school has so much as admitted that they cheated, and you still have some of their fan base trying to minimize it, or some still saying they didn't even cheat. It's just absolutely wild to me, but I'm not stressing it. They're going down smoking. and that there's no other way for, not just because the NCAA wants it, because all these other college teams wants it as well. Because if you love college football, you want them to get hammered. If you love college football and you love, right, watching it and being a part of it, if they don't get hammered, look what's going to happen to this sport. So just cut it down to the bare minimum, and you see that, man, if you love this sport and you love watching it, man, you're going to want the hammer to come on these guys to show that, hey, you cannot do this. This is not okay to do, right? Because I talk about this aspect of it all the time. Take away the rivalry, take away the on-field stuff, take away the football games. Look what it did to people's lives. Ryan Day's life, CJ Stroud, and all, not just the Ohio State players either, but all these other coaches and players that showed up and bled and sweated all over the field training for a game, and they go in and they get pummeled, and then they're sitting there thinking that it wasn't enough. What they did wasn't enough. Well, it could have been, but the other team knew all your plays before you were playing. They cheated, right? Like the morality of that is just, it's disgusting. And when you see even some of their players that were on that team talk, if I was a player on that team, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I'd feel about myself. I definitely couldn't go out and speak against it or for it. You know, I couldn't go out and get on live camera and say, yeah, we didn't cheat, or everybody's whining or whatever. If I did anything, I would just be quiet about it. Like if I knew everything that went on. And I'm also going to say this. Listen, I know that people are still debating whether Jim Harbaugh knew about it or not. There might not be any proof, but that's like the funniest thing I've probably ever heard in my life. The head football coach, all these people knew about it and were involved about it, and the head football coach doesn't know about it. Like, yeah, I can see you saying there's no proof, so you can't say it. But I mean, do they deserve the benefit of the doubt? Does the lying coach who lied about recruiting stuff in COVID, because to say he didn't know, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. My question to you would be, why? At what point in time in this dude's career has he earned the benefit of the doubt? He just got in trouble for lying. Okay, so he knew about it. There's no other way around it. And I'm just pumped that this thing's coming closer to an end. It's still not going to be as fast as people are expecting. This hearing's going to happen, and then they got like 30 or 45 days to respond or something like that, as far as I know. So a decision is close, but maybe not as close as what people are expecting it be. At least that's from my understanding. Funky, I don't know if you know anything.
Yeah, the decision relatively is close, but in reality, no, it's not that close. There's a chance that we wait 50 days to hear it publicly. And I could see it being up to 2 months where we hear it, publicly. Usually the average is about 30 to 45, but this isn't average. There's no we don't really know. And knowing NCAA, how they work this entire time, I add a few, I can add 20 days to it and probably be close to it. But it's close, but it's before the season. I'll say that. I'm very confident it's before the season.
Yeah. Funky,
and that's about it.
I just wanted to throw this in there too, man. Your take on, after this date, right? After June 6th and 7th, right? Mm-hmm. Your take on the over and under of the scum beat writers coming out acting like they know information from what happened in this thing. Like saying, oh, it's all good. There's going to be a fun. Do you think they're going to take it this close? Because we know what their beat has been doing, lying the entire time, right? It's wild.
And it's
how
not just
far
lying.
Are they going to carry it?
Sorry, it's not even just lying. It's just goalposts. It's not just lying, but it's goalposts moving. Because now they're all acting like they predicted Sherrone Moore to be suspended. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. That's not true at all. You said nothing was going to happen. You said literally nothing was going to happen. But my belief is they're going to start either say nothing, either they're going to be like, oh, whatever, and just keeping the same stance that they've had, and it's act like, oh, nothing, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not sure if they'll believe that they actually heard something from the room directly. I think they're going to keep playing. Okay, this is what you guys have to realize. Let's all think about this. Has Chris Bayless ever came out and said that he knows nothing is going to happen, and that's what he believes, and like he 100% knows that for a fact that nothing is going to happen. The answer is no. He's literally never said that. Every single time he's talked about this entire case, he said, the people I talk to within Michigan don't believe anything's going to happen. The people in Michigan haven't heard anything. They're telling me that nothing's going to happen. The people inside Michigan are saying this, vacated wins and postseason bans aren't on the table. He's not saying that's like what's going to happen. He's not saying, this is for sure what's going to happen. He's saying, this is what the people in Michigan are telling me. You guys know what that means? That means he doesn't know anything. That means he's going to turn around and be like, well, they're wrong. The people in Michigan were wrong. They don't know anything, or whatever. They were wrong. And they're going to go, the NCAA is overstepping. The NCAA, we're going to fight in court. The Michigan is absolutely shocked by this decision, and they feel furious and they're mad and they're angry, and we're going to fight it. That's what's going to happen. It's not going to be like, yeah. So if there's a part of me who might feel like after this, a week after the committee infractions, or maybe days, I'm not really sure, they might come out and say like, they are fighting, something about how the NCAA is overstepping, Devin.
Yes.
But
for sure.
I don't know if they're going to like double down on it though. Like I'm not sure if they're going to go out there and say, we've had people that were in the COI meetings and they say nothing's going to happen. I'm not sure if they'll say that, but I think they might be like, they might keep the people at Michigan still don't believe anything's going to happen, or they might switch it to, they're overstepping. The NCAA is overstepping, and it's still nothing too bad, but they're fighting for we're Michigan standing our ground on this one.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No, it does. They're going to try to move the goalpost just a little bit more further back this time, and not try to look so idiotic at this point in time. Just kind of start minimalizing a little bit, but not as much as they have been, so they can try to seem as right as possible when the actual truth does come out. It's kind of their prerogative. It's what they've been doing. But
because the reality is if it's not a total hammer, they'll claim victory. Like if it's not like if it's only if it's only a 1-year postseason ban and all vacated wins, then they're going to be, or no, let's just say it's a 1-year postseason ban and the NCAA only vacates wins where they could prove that Michigan illegally scouted the games. So like the Ohio State games and the Michigan State games and the Penn State games, and then maybe not right away, or they don't look at the title. They don't claim the Big Ten title or whatever. I'm not even sure what the NCAA can do about the national titles, but right when this punishment comes out, Michigan fans are going to claim victory. They're going to claim victory no matter what.
Well, I mean, the NCAA can do like what they did with the Heisman Trophy and say that, hey, we don't recognize it. And then the Heisman Trophy people will then, because they follow the NCAA, the same thing's going to happen. The NCAA is just going to say, hey, we are not going to recognize their national title. And then those people, they're going to go take it away from them. But I got a question, Funky. Do you think, because there's kind of a couple ways, if they keep following the same pattern, the beating their fans that they do you think they're going to cry overreach, or do you think they're going to cry, this wasn't that bad? Like no matter what, let's say it's 2-year postseason banned and, some games vacated. Do you think they cry, see, it's not as bad as what everybody's been saying, the hammer, that ain't that bad. That's nothing. Or do you think it's, wow, I can't believe the NCAA did this. This is so unfair, total overreach. The NCAA, they're a bunch of clowns. We need to just finally just do away with them, right? Which group do you think we're going to see the most of?
Shoot, that's a hard question because it depends on the punishment. If it's what we're predicting, I think it's totally just going to be that they're overstepping. The NCAA is a joke and we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it in court. But if it's some sort of middle ground, like maybe, again, like I said, a 1-year postseason ban, then I could see them jumping both ways. Like, well, vacated wins don't actually mean anything. So the only punishment we actually got was the 1-year postseason ban. And this is the year that we have Bryce Underwood, and you can't take away the memories from us. The games are still there. So that doesn't mean anything to me. So all you took away from us was a freshman year Bryce Underwood season where he's actually not even going to be that good. So we're going to win. We're 8 games anyways. But next year we're going 12-0 and winning the Natty. So I think it depends on if it's a 1 year, 2 year
Yeah.
postseason ban, Devin. And
Yeah.
Sharon Moore. Actually, if they fire Sharon Moore, I can see that fan base celebrating. But
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we've been going for an hour and 5 minutes, but I got one final thing, man. Kind of a longer show. We appreciate everybody in the chat staying along, but just one final little rant from me, and it's that be careful where you get your information from. Be careful who you're paying attention to. There are so many Twitter accounts out there, YouTube shows, the whole 9 yards, and I hope that I have never made it seem like I am the smartest person ever when it comes to football. I never played, never coached. I'm trying to get better at breaking down players' films and things like that, but I try to avoid saying things that make me look ignorant, right? And I'm saying this because there are so many accounts on Twitter and there's so many YouTube shows that will claim to be and talk football and break down recruits' film like they actually know, and they'll criticize Ohio State, coaching decisions, and it's just like, okay, who are you to criticize, right? So be real careful what you pick. And for instance, some PFF group on Twitter or X came out recently with a top 10 offensive line group, according to PFF this year, projecting, and Ohio State did not make the top 10. Our offensive line for this year did not make the top 10. And, if I take my fandom away and I look at what Ohio State's offensive line did last year and compared to the country, I mean, there's no way I'd be able to comfortably put them outside of the top 5, top 3 pushing, right? I think we're going to be one of the best rooms in the nation. And I'm just not sure how you can deduce any other thing from what we see. Our left tackle, we got out of the transfer portal, started last year, projected second-round draft pick. And then, all our other 4 starters all started last year. It's just like, dang, I don't know. But Funky, just quick thoughts on that real fast, man.
yeah, the first I want to talk about people feeling smarter than the coaches. I'm on record multiple times. I remember it was when we were dealing with some injuries in the offensive line, and people are coming here asking me like, what do you think like we should do? Like, what's the answer? And I gave them my answer, but I underlined it with, but I mean, they're the coaches. They're the coaches. They're the ones getting paid for this. They trust me. They know that we have injuries, and they know that they need to fix it. So they're like, everything you're saying about, oh, we need the ball quicker, we need to do more misdirections, we got to do this. They know. They trust me. They know. They do this stuff 24 hours a day. They know this more than anybody. I like to feel like I'm pretty well educated, but I'll underline this. I'll never be smarter than the people that work at Ohio State that do this, for their living. These evaluators, like whatever, I can go out here and be very high on a kid, but if he gets passed up in Ohio State and we take this 3-star kid ahead of him, even though the kid that I like's a 4-star, I would be dumb for saying that I think that 4-star kid's better than that 3-star kid, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State's track record is amazing. It's like, it's pretty much, it's as perfect as you could get in college football and in college football recruiting. And you just look, and that's based on the consistency. That's based on the NFL draft picks. That's based off like how much money they make and how much time they put into this and how old they are. I like to think with California kids, especially, I'm pretty well knowledgeable, but I hope I never come off across as, like you said, as like the smartest person in the room. Can I tell you right now? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a fan, definitely as people that do a YouTube show, it's fun to talk about the coach's decisions. It's fun to sometimes not agree with them and talk about maybe what we would do. Like, that's just part of being a college football fan. Every fan does it, right? So we can sit here and talk about it, but it's the ones that just take it to the next level and call coaches idiots. And they just have that aura about them that they think
Fire Larry.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay. Like, yes, it's fun to talk about. We don't think Ryan Day subs in and out enough. Like, I do that all the time. I'm like, dang, I wish they would sub in more. I feel like that's a really bad move. But the truth is, it's like they just won a national title. Whatever Ryan Day is doing, it's like, we might think you're not sub in and out enough, but you won a national title last year. So apparently you know what you're doing. But it's still fun to talk about those things as a fan, which is part of being a fan. But
yeah, you're right. You're totally right. I misspoke a little bit there because I agree with everything you just said there. Yeah,
no, I agreed with what you said too. That was a perfect point. But do you think Ohio State's offensive line is going to be
Oh.
a top 10 offensive line this year?
It's going to be top. I mean, top. I don't see many that are even comparable.
Yeah.
I really like Penn State's. I like Notre Dame's, and that's about it from the top of my head. Obviously, there's going to be some SEC schools I'm sure have good offensive lines, but if you'd have us outside the top 5, I think that's crazy. I would have us in the top 3, somewhere between that 1 to 3 range, because we returned 6 people who've started in the highest level competition possible. I mean, or sorry, 5 that started in the highest competition possible, and 1 who's been a starter for his 3rd or 4th year starting, as in Ethan, our left tackle. And he's proven at the highest level, though. He's played Texas. But then the other 5 guys who've started have started in Big Ten football play for multiple games. And a lot of them have a lot of eligibility left, too. So I think our line's set up for very, very nice in the future. I'm very excited about that room, because those kids could be here for next year, and some of them could be for the year after that. And we're gonna have Phillips just from our top 6 right now. If you go to our top 7, we're gonna have a starting center in Padilla, starting right tackle in Phillips, and starting left tackle in Austin. So, or you can flip the tackles, but we have 2 tackles in a center right there that are all in our top 7, who are all, in my opinion, could start right now. And then you look, and Jake Cook is he's going to get some playing time this year. If some injuries happen, he's going to get on the field. And injuries are going to happen. That happens every year. Jake Cook is going to get on the field. That kid's an absolute stud. I don't care what his high school ranking was. He's an absolute stud. And he'll be a starting guard for Ohio State. I mean, within probably not next year, because, again, the room's so loaded. He'll probably redshirt this year, be a redshirt freshman next year. Then as a redshirt sophomore, he'll probably start in at guard. And I really, really like where we are in the Armstrong twins. And yeah, but I really like our offensive line room this year, especially. And I think they've done a great job with that room, surprisingly. Because if you look at the recruiting rankings, you wouldn't agree. But if you actually look at who's in the room, you can't do anything but agree.
Yeah. Well, we always say when it comes to recruiting rankings, the hardest position to do it at is offensive lineman, right? Perfect example, Jake Cook, the lowest rated offensive lineman that we signed in the class, yet he's farther along than any other offensive lineman that we signed in the class. So, I mean, there you go. That's perfect for you. But I'm hearing the same thing. The Armstrong twins are actually ahead of schedule compared to where most people would project them to be right now. That's what I'm hearing anyway. So they bust their butt. They do not play around. Ian Moore coming around, showing up, showing out. Jake Cook. Even Gabe Van Sickle. We heard a lot about him, and he was a 3-star next to nobody. Nobody paid attention to his recruitment. I think we flipped him from Northwestern or something, but he's being talked about a lot too. So I like where the offensive line room is heading. But amazing show. Got a lot of official visits happening right now. If you're not on the Scoop board, go over there, because if you want to hear live information about coming directly from these official visits, Scoop's where you're going to want to go, because they're probably the only people getting current real-time information coming out of those visits. So I would suggest going over there if you're into that. I know I'm going to be refreshing that board frequently. I'm here definitely this weekend, because I expect some things to come out. Monday, you're going to want to be here on the Scoop Show at 6 p.m., the Buckeye Boys show here. Felix Ojo is who we are expected to have on here, fresh off his Ohio State official visit. If you want to hear how it went, you don't want to read an article where people put their opinion and their emotions in it, come hear exactly what he has to say about it. I'm not sure if you can get a better source. I know you can't. Matter of fact, let's just hear it from his mouth directly. But Funky, any closing thoughts? We'll wrap this thing up.
Oh, I totally appreciate everyone being here. I don't usually go on Fridays, but I was awesome when Dev called me. I was very excited, because I love talking to y'all, love talking Ohio State football. It's never a bad time. Appreciate everyone. Yeah, everyone being here. Shout out. Yeah, Steely, Karis, I saw Mello was in the chat for a bit. We recognize the guys who are here, every week, every day watching us. We appreciate it. I know Devin does. Everyone in the Scoop family does. I released a really nice bomb, or nice funky bomb on what I've been hearing out of USC, being from Southern California, being very, very close to mega donors at USC. Got some really good insights on their recruiting. Was able to break the Bowen news. If you guys know, he was my favorite player in the class. So it was a little disappointing that wasn't Ohio State. Wasn't expecting Ohio State, but was able to break that today on the board. So all y'all got that. and then read a little more on their plans and how they're dealing with this NIL world, and if I think Ohio State should follow suit. So I'll probably talk about that Sunday with B. Moses more. But if you want to get it first and you want to read it right now, you can go to buckeyescoop.com to find that out. But yeah, I appreciate all y'all. And yeah.
Yep. Shout out to new wrenches, Karras and Steely, new Buckeye Scoop wrenches. So if you're friends with them, create a different account, give them a hard time in there, but only do it one day. Don't do it more than once. We don't want to give them too hard of a time. But we appreciate you guys. Shout out everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys enjoying this show. Don't forget to hit that like button. But on that note, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Check out I got some Quinshon Notre Dame footage at the end of this show. But go Buckeyes, OH.
IO.